Right then, lads and lasses, how we doing, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. In today's daily news video, we have some transfer news that Newcastle United are in talks with an unnamed Saudi Pro League side over the transfer of Miguel Almiron. Newcastle United have made their stance clear that they do want to sell Miggy, and it's also been reported by The Athletic that before July the 1st, of course, the financial fair play deadline, Newcastle United actually tried to ship Miggy off to meet the financial fair play requirements. We all know we were kind of desperate in that time, and also, of course, the past 3 days we haven't done a video on the YouTube channel. I kind of do apologise. I was out watching the England game and got a bit carried away, but since that time, we all know Newcastle United have confirmed 2 departures. Yankuba Minteh is Newcastle United have received a fee over £30 million. Elliot Anderson has went to Nottingham Forest. The Jody Maradona joins up with the Nottingham side for £35 million. Honestly, at first glance, I kind of thought that we were going to buy one of their players to help them out with financial fair play, but it looks like they're paying us straight up £35 million. I've got to say, look, all the best to Elliot Anderson, and I would have loved to have another Geordie at the club. He might have been the 6th midfielder, so £35 million for someone who, you know, was nowhere near going to be your first team. I'm taking that every day of the week. Newcastle also confirmed the permanent signing of Lewis Hall, John Ruddy and Odysseus Vlachodimos. Vlachodimos looks to be Newcastle United's second choice goalkeeper. John Ruddy, more of a player coach role, but actually, if you watch John Ruddy's interview with Newcastle United, I really am impressed. Of course, he won't be playing at all, but the things that he said, he's going to get the lads right up for it in training. He demands high standards of people around him. That's what I like to hear, improving our forwards. But also, Newcastle United have news, or we have news, that Martin Dubravka wants to speak to Eddie Howe because his future is unclear at the club and he wants to play first team football. Well, obviously, he's not going to get that here. So without further ado, lads and lasses, if you do enjoy the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new, and of course, let me know down below, what would you do with Miguel Almiron? He turns 31 years old in February, and of course, his quality isn't what we really need at the moment, especially going for them European spots. Would you sell Miggy, or would you keep him? And of course, what would you do with 35-year-old Martin Dubravka? Without further ado, sorry for the long intro, let's get into it. Yet again, sorry for the long intro. You know I kind of like to keep them short and snappy, but since we've missed a fair few days on the YouTube channel, we've got to kind of catch up there. And we'll have as well, the one that I'm actually really excited about is the permanent signing of Lewis Hall. Honestly, I couldn't be a bigger fan of this lad. Although last season, you know, he had to really work his way into getting first team football. Eddie Howe mustn't have thought that he was ready. He will be, and I'm saying this is a bold shout by the way, the next World Cup, the 2026 World Cup, Lewis Hall will be England's left back. I'm telling you that now. On to the news though. Of course, regarding Miguel Almiron, it's been reported by Sky Sports and Keith Downey that Newcastle United are in talks with an unnamed Saudi Pro League side over the potential sale of Miguel Almiron. Miggy is on the list of options from Saudi side Al Qadisiyah, who actually have just been promoted up to the Saudi Pro League, of course, from the second division, and the team that wanted Almiron in January, of course, Al Shabab, when Newcastle United actually reached a provisional agreement and a verbal agreement to sell Miguel Almiron. The reason that didn't go through, Miggy didn't want to leave the club. But of course, the team that came in for Almiron in January, Al Shabab, are willing to return to the transfer for Miggy, but only if they receive a clear encouragement that Miggy does want to go to Saudi Arabia. Of course, it kind of collapsed last time because Miggy didn't want to go, and I've got to say, I don't think they will be revisiting this transfer because Miguel Almiron doesn't want to leave Newcastle United. Like I also said, the club, this is reported by The Athletic, the club did try to sell Miguel Almiron before July the 1st to get him off them financial fair play books. Now I've just got to say, and this has been my viewpoint on Miguel Almiron for such a long time now, thank you so much for your service, Miggy. An unbelievable trier, and that's all us Newcastle United fans ever ask for. If you're not good enough, it doesn't matter. Go on that pitch and give 110%, work your socks off, and that's what he's done. When you actually realise it, thank you so much, but his quality isn't Newcastle United standard anymore. When you're playing at the top level, it's a bog standard trait. You've got to at least be able to use both feet. Miggy unfortunately can't, and it kind of, I shouldn't even say kind of, it does delay us so much in the counter-attack and the build-up as well. Kieran Trippier, our right-back, and you can imagine our first-choice right-back should be Tino next season. Trippier's had a little bit of a fall-off, nothing too big though, but when we are pushing up the field, Miggy has got to cut back on that left foot every single time. Instead of running straight forward, whipping one in the box with his right foot, he's got to wait for the defence to come back, then he cuts back with his left foot, and of course, course, Trippier has to overlap him, leaving us exposed at the back as well. So, I've got to say, Miguel Almiron for me, if we receive an offer anywhere near £20 million, thank you, Miggy, all the best, and I mean all the best as well, but we've got to take that every day of the week. The problem is, though, Miggy has made it adamant several amounts of times that he wants to stay at Newcastle United, and if he wants to stay, annoyingly, and many reasons why, of course, we could certainly reuse that money on a much better right winger who can use both feet, and of course will be at the top level in my opinion. I love someone like Nico Williams, very, very ambitious by the way. He's on nearly 200 grand a week at Atletico Bilbao, which it would be very hard to pull off, but I believe we can go big on a right winger. Honestly, selling Minter, and if we sell Miguel Almiron, making £60 million of pure profit just between Anderson and Yankuba Minter, Newcastle United have the chance to go absolutely massive, and I really do want to say a big right winger, as well as a right-sided centre-back and a striker as well. But that's it on Miguel Almiron. Newcastle United are seriously in talks with an unnamed Saudi Pro League side to sell Miguel Almiron. Would you sell him? For me personally, anywhere near 20 million, I've got to take it. All the best, Miggy. Now on to Martin Dubravka, as it has been reported by Craig Hope, who was actually spoke to Martin Dubravka after his exit to England in the World Cup. What a game, by the way. I say what a game. What a terrible performance. Jude Bellingham saving us yet again. Anyways, Martin Dubravka says that he needs to talk to Eddie Howe after his future at Newcastle United is certainly unknown, especially after signing 2 new goalkeepers in John Ruddy and Odyssey's Vlachodimos. We're not going to have 5 goalkeepers for the season. I can certainly tell you that myself, Martin. Martin has said this when asked on his Newcastle United future: I have no idea. I have seen they are talking with other goalkeepers and I need to speak with the manager first. What is the plan for me? What is my future? I don't know if they want me to stay or not. It is difficult for me because I've been focused on my job with the national team. Of course, we know that the Slovakian international does want first team football, and it also says at the bottom that talks were held with Celtic, with of course Martin Dubravka's agent, before the European Championships, but nothing happened at all. Now, we all know Martin Dubravka does want first team football at Newcastle United. He's not going to get it whatsoever, even if, and I know there's been a slight little talk about it, that Nick Pope could join Ipswich. They've just got promoted to the Premier League, and of course he's an Ipswich Town fan. That's where he's born. I've got to say, I don't think Nick Pope will leave, but at the same time, Nick Pope's shoulder injuries are very, very worrying, so Martin Dubravka could step up to some first team football, but I don't believe he will be our second choice next season. We've got 5 goalkeepers now. Martin Dubravka, if he does leave the club, I do feel really bad, and he's kind of left on a sour note, which I don't really like it whatsoever. Dubravka, especially in the earlier years, my God. I remember his debut against Manchester United. What a game that was. Probably one of his best performances as well. Honestly, in the earlier years, when Martin Dubravka was at Newcastle United, he was absolutely unbelievable. It'll come as no surprise that Martin Dubravka will leave the club, certainly in my opinion. I don't want to chuck that out there as a certainty, but I think it is a certainty in my opinion. You will let me know down below, do you think Martin Dubravka will leave the club in this summer transfer window? For me, I think he's leaving every day of the week. 35 years old, having a little bit of a sour note with Newcastle United fans, and of course, there's 1 year left on his contract. I don't think there's actually any room for him at all. So without further ado, I'm glad to be back with the YouTube videos. Hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new. I've been Jody Josh, see you all tomorrow. Go and enjoy your day, people.